All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Rockland High School Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Dan Kimball. I'm the athletic director at Rockland High School, and I will be your MC for this evening, unless Graz again takes control and takes the mic. We do know he loves the mic. Tonight we celebrate 10 remarkable Rockland High School alumni and coaches whose accomplishments stretch across 6 different decades. These individuals will now take their place amongst the most elite and influential student athletes, coaches, and school administrators our school district has ever produced. I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you for attending this evening, especially Mrs. Jane Hackett and Mrs. Cheryl Shipper, who have both provided a strong sense of leadership for our district and athletic programs. So at this point, my goal is to give you a brief, and I really do mean brief, introduction to the stories and accomplishments of those that we are honoring this evening. After dinner, each Hall of Famer will be formally inducted by a teammate, a coach, or a family member who will do a much better job than I ever could in telling their full story. But now, let's turn the spotlight to the outstanding individuals that we are honoring tonight. So here's how we'll do it. I'll say your name, you'll give our audience a wave so that everyone can see you, and then I'll share a brief summary of your accomplishments. After that, we'll move on to the next inductee. So this will build some suspense for your big moment in the spotlight after dinner. And for now, no standing required, just wave and some well-deserved applause. So our first inductee this evening is Bill Cronin. So unfortunately, Coach Cronin is unable to make the event this evening, but Coach spent his career as a dedicated educator and is best known as the founder of the Rockland High School soccer program. His determination built the foundation of boys soccer in Rockland, culminating in a 1985 state championship, the only boys soccer state title in the school's history. His impact as a coach, teacher, and mentor continues to live on through the generations of players that he inspired. Coach Cronin. Next is Kyra Rose. Don't be shy, Kyra. Kyra is one of Rockland's all-time great basketball players. Kyra scored 1,268 career points, earning 4 Social League All-Star selections and 4 Brockton Enterprise All-Scholastic honors. A team captain and a 2-time league MVP, Kyra went on to average 19.5 points per game as a freshman at Fitchburg State. Kyra Rose. Next is Trish Madsen. A standout soccer player at Rockland, Trish continued her success at Plymouth State, helping lead her team to a Final Four appearance. She has spent her career giving back to the sport, becoming a highly respected head coach at Dighton Rehoboth. Trish has earned multiple Coach of the Year awards, league championships, undefeated seasons, and numerous state title tournament berths, cementing her impact on Massachusetts high school soccer. Trish Madsen. Next is Jim Patton. A beloved educator and coach, Jim dedicated his career to Rockland students. He taught social studies and coached boys and girls varsity soccer and cheerleading, winning a state championship in girls soccer. Jim's influence spans decades and generations. His leadership, spirit, and unwavering commitment to student athletes have made him a cornerstone of the Rockland community. Jim Patton. Next is Jeanine Reardon. Jeanine was a standout soccer and basketball player at Rockland, but her greatest legacy has been her 2 decades of coaching. A graduate of Bridgewater State with a master's in education, Jeanine has led Rockland cheerleading to an incredible 15 MSAA state championships. Absolutely. In addition to her work at the high school level, she has been deeply involved in youth sports, shaping generations of student athletes through her dedication and leadership. Jeanine Reardon. Next is Glenn MacKinlay. A multi-sport talent, Glenn was both a high-scoring basketball standout, surpassing 1,000 points at Mass Maritime, and an all-star pitcher in baseball. Off the field, Glenn built an extraordinary career in public service as an assistant U.S. attorney, earning 2 Attorney General's awards and the U.S. Marshals Service Law Enforcement Officer of the Year award. His achievements in athletics and law underscore a lifetime of excellence. Glenn MacKinlay. Next is A. Scott MacKinlay. Go ahead. Yes, absolutely. Although A. Scott is no longer with us, his spirit continues to shine brightly. Few individuals have shaped Rockland High School more than A. Scott MacKinlay. After serving in Germany, he began teaching at Rockland High School in 1959 and went on to serve as coach, athletic director, and ultimately principal, a role that he held for over 25 years. He was a leader statewide, serving as the president of the MIAA, cheering major tournaments, and founding the Rockland Education Foundation. His lifelong dedication to education, athletics, and the town of Rockland makes his legacy unparalleled. A. Scott MacKinlay. Right. Next is Tyler Gibson. Tyler is one of the most decorated athletes in Rockland's history. A 2-sport state champion in both the high jump and the triple jump, he was also the 2012-2013 Massachusetts Gatorade Boys Basketball Player of the Year, Mr. Basketball in Massachusetts, and the Boston Globe Division III Player of the Year. Tyler earned all-state honors from ESPN Boston on both ends of the floor and was a Social League MVP and team captain. He went on to play basketball at Bentley University, continuing a career defined by excellence and leadership. Tyler Gibson. Next is Terrance Gibson. Terrance rewrote the record books at Rockland High School and then did it again at Worcester State. A multiple-time state champion in hurdles, long jump, and the 4x100 relay, Terrance became one of the fastest hurdlers in NCAA Division III history, earning 4 All-America honors and a national championship. He still holds Worcester State's records in the 60-meter and the 110-meter hurdles and helped lead a record-breaking 4x100 relay squad. Terrance is one of Rockland's most dominant track athletes ever. Terrance Gibson. All right, and our final inductee this evening is Brian Harrington. A hard-working, physical, gifted athlete, Brian Harrington excelled in both football and wrestling at Rockland, earning Patriot League and Social League All-Star honors and a Shriners All-Star selection. At Stonehill College, he became one of the top defensive players in the nation, breaking the school and conference record with 151 tackles, 4th most in Division II. A team captain and All-American, Brian's college career stands among the best ever produced by a Rockland athlete. Brian Harrington. All right, well, that does wrap up my attempt at a brief introduction of our 2025 Hall of Famers. I can assure you that you will hear much more about each individual after dinner. So at this point, I want to invite all tables to join the buffet line in an orderly fashion, as we will now transition to dinner. And in approximately a half hour, 45 minutes or so, we will begin our introductions by formally inducting Mr. Bill Cronin. But now, please join the buffet line. All right, so I'm gonna begin by formally inducting Coach Bill Cronin into the 2025 Athletic Hall of Fame. Now, full disclosure, I was not around in 1985 when Rockland Soccer was bringing home a state championship banner, but I've gotten to know Coach Cronin the only way someone my age can, through stories, emails, and the kind of nostalgia that jumps off the page so strongly that you feel like you were there. Tonight, we induct Coach Cronin to the Rockland High School Athletic Hall of Fame. And while I never had the privilege to meet him on the sideline or in the classroom, I feel like I know exactly the kind of coach, teacher, and human being that he is, thanks to the people of the lives that he shaped. Let's start with the obvious. Rockland Soccer exists because of Bill Cronin's stubbornness. The good kind of stubborn. The kind of stubborn that hears, we don't want competition with the football program, and responds with, okay, well, I'm going to start a soccer program anyway. And as the current boys varsity soccer coach, I've got to say I'm truly grateful. Coach Cronin didn't just launch a high school team. He built an entire soccer culture in Rockland. He created a feeder program. He taught kids who may have never played before. He convinced the football town to make room for a second fall powerhouse. And in 1985, that stubbornness turned into a Division II state championship, the only boys' state championship in school history. But if starting a program from scratch wasn't impressive enough, his former players made it clear that Coach Cronin's impact went far beyond wins and losses. An alum, Stephen Cantwell, from the class of '76, said that he became a coach and a referee simply because Coach Cronin taught him the game. Not how to play, but how to love it, how to carry it into adulthood, and how to give it back to others. Stephen said plainly, it's all because of Coach Cronin. Then there's Dr. Colin McDonald, one of his earliest captains, who called Coach Cronin the founder of Rockland soccer and the greatest coach to date. Colin credits Coach with teaching him humility and confidence. Traits that, judging by the fact that he's now an emergency neurophysician, worked out pretty well. Finally, I want to speak about Diane Cronin, whose email to me was the reason that we're all here tonight. Diane told me honestly and bravely about Bill's dementia, and how even now, at 82, he remembers the play-by-play moments, the faces of his players, and the pride that he had in the team that brought Rockland a championship. She asked that we give him this induction while he can still feel what it means. Tonight is not just about honoring a coach who built a program, won a state championship, or made Hall of Fame athletes. It's about honoring a man who shaped young people at a level deeper than sport. A man whose players grew into Marines, doctors, corrections officers, coaches, referees, parents, and leaders, still carrying lessons with them. I may not have known Coach Cronin personally, but after reading those stories, it's clear that he represents the best of what high school sports can be. Courage to build something, patience to teach something, and the heart to care about something. Coach Cronin, on behalf of the Rockland High School, our athletics program, past and present, and a very grateful community, welcome to the Rockland High School Athletic Hall of Fame. You belong here, and tonight we are honored to give you this moment. Thank you. Go Cronin. All right, so we are going to now transition into Coach Diana Newcomb, who will be inducting her former player, Kyra Rose.
Any specific one? This one? This one. Okay. Well, first of all, congratulations to everyone that is here. Most of you I have met before. Some of you I am very excited to hear about all of your legacies to get you to this point. So I'm up here. It is my absolute pleasure to be standing up here tonight, not only to induct, but to relive some of the incredible career highlights of Kyra Rose. For those of you who didn't have the pleasure of watching Kyra play basketball, you missed out. And for those of you that did, you know exactly why I have the honor of inducting her into the 2025 Rockland Athletic Hall of Fame. Before I ever knew Kyra, I knew of a little girl with big glasses who used to sit at the top row of the bleachers at every home game. Same spot, every game. I once turned to another coach and said, I need to meet that kid. She clearly loves basketball, and that's exactly the kind of player we need. That little girl who loved to watch soon became one of the best players to ever wear a Rockland girls basketball uniform. Kyra's freshman year was also my first year as varsity coach, and I couldn't have asked for a better player or person to grow with. It wasn't the easiest start for either of us. Kyra was our freshman starting point guard, and we started the season 0-5. But through Kyra's natural leadership and basketball IQ, we turned things around. After that rough start, Kyra finished out her career with a record of 64-21, making the state tournament all 4 years. Kyra had a strong freshman season that got the program back on the winning track, but it was the third game of her sophomore year that she truly broke out and put the league on notice. We were playing at then powerhouse Abington right before Christmas vacation. We had an awful first start, scoring just 13 total points, and Kyra hadn't scored any of them. Some words were said in the locker room, and in true gritty Kyra fashion, maybe to save her teammates from the wrath of coach, Kyra came out and scored 24 points in the second half, erasing a 10-point deficit and leading us to a 5-point win that snapped Abington's 18-game home win streak. Kyra wasn't just a scorer, though she did average double digits all 4 years and score in double figures 73 of her 90 career games. She also led the team in assists and rebounds. She was an opponent's matchup nightmare, and that dominance earned her South Shore League Player of the Year honors twice during her career. Fast forward to her senior year. Kyra scored a 1,000th point in front of a home crowd during our Christmas tournament on a perfectly executed backdoor lob out of a timeout. That season, we were undefeated league champs, which snapped an 8-year drought for the girls basketball team being league champs. She earned South Shore League Player of the Year again, was named to every newspaper's all-scholastic team, and led us with 27 points in her final high school game, a hard-fought 5-point loss to perennial powerhouse Archbishop Williams. Kyra, one of the most sincere people you'll ever meet, faced and overcame major personal challenges throughout high school, yet still finished her Rockland career with 1,268 points. She also earned varsity letters in volleyball and tennis just to show off her all-around athletic ability. Kyra continued her basketball journey at Pittsburgh State, where she made an immediate impact, averaging 19.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists her freshman year, and earning Conference Rookie of the Year honors. Today, Kyra serves as an associate juvenile probation officer in Suffolk County, still leading, still giving back, and still one of the best to ever come through Rockland. Congratulations, Kyra, and welcome to the club.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by saying what an honor it is to receive this accolade, and congratulations to the other inductees tonight. We are all here to celebrate being inducted into Rockland Athletics Hall of Fame, but I think it goes without saying we wouldn't be here without the support of many others, so there are a lot of thank yous to be given. First, even if these people are not in attendance, I would like to thank and show appreciation to all of those who have volunteered their time in youth and high school sports. From parents that coach, referee, or work the concessions, teachers that also coach, do the scoreboards, or attendance fans. As a working adult now, knowing we all have minimal free time, it should be recognized that we couldn't do what we did without these people volunteering their time. Secondly, I would like to thank Coach Newcomb for her impact on me, not only as an athlete, but as a person. Her passion for the sport of basketball and the development of young athletes, I believe, is second to none. She taught me the importance of discipline and hard work, how one should carry themselves on and off the court, and the significance of doing well academically, even if I forgot about that part sometimes. Lastly, I would like to thank my family for all of the time, money, and countless hours spent sitting on uncomfortable bleachers in smelly gyms for 15 years. It meant arranging your schedules around my basketball, driving me to and from practices and games, even if some of those were across the country. You never doubted me and allowed me to follow my passion for basketball, and I am forever grateful for your sacrifices and support. Being inducted into Rockland Athletics Hall of Fame is an incredible honor, but is also a reflection of the community that shaped me. To everyone who played a part, whether on the court, in the stands, or behind the scenes, thank you. I am proud to be a Rockland Bulldog, and once again, congratulations to all the other inductees tonight.
All right. Congratulations again, Kyra. I'd like to now introduce Terrance Madsen, who will be inducting her mother, Trish Madsen.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to say congratulations to all of the other inductees. This is an amazing achievement. It's such an honor to be here tonight to celebrate my mom, Coach Trish Madsen, and her induction into the Rockland High School Hall of Fame. We are here to honor her not only as a tremendous soccer player for Rockland High School and later Plymouth State University, but also as a highly influential coach at Dighton-Rehoboth Regional High School. For 29 years, Coach Madsen has built a program defined not just by wins, but by heart. Her record speaks for itself: 140 wins, 60 losses, and 29 ties, along with 4 SEC championships and 11 state tournament appearances. But as anyone who ever played for her knows, the numbers only tell part of the story. The real story of Coach Madsen's career is written within the lives of hundreds of young women she's coached. The players she pushed to be tougher than they ever thought they could be, the girls that she protected fiercely both on and off the field, and the confidence she helped so many discover within themselves. My entire life, I've had the privilege of having Coach Madsen as my coach. And let me tell you, she was probably harder on me than anyone else. I watched her for years coach Dighton-Rehoboth with the same passion and energy, no matter the obstacles. Every new season followed the same pattern. The underclassmen feared her, and the upperclassmen loved her. But by the time those girls became seniors, they understood what all of us who know her best have always known, that every drill, every demand, and every tough conversation came from a place of very deep care. To this day, my mom still keeps in touch with a remarkable number of her former players, a testament to the impact she's had, not only as a coach, but as a mentor and role model. Anyone who's worked with her will tell you she's a straight shooter. She's honest, she's fair, and she's passionate about her players and her game. And true to form, she probably hoped to sneak through the cracks tonight without any spotlight on her. But that's exactly why we're here, because while she never made it about herself, her legacy absolutely deserves to be celebrated. Mom, thank you for everything, for coaching me, for letting me practice with your high school team, for showing your passion for the game and for your players, and yes, for yelling at the refs when they don't protect your girls. Her lessons will always echo in the Dighton-Rehoboth soccer program, as well as in the lives of everyone she has touched along the way. Congratulations, Coach Madsen. We are so proud of you.
Isn't she amazing? Good evening, everyone. Standing here tonight is truly humbling. To be recognized among so many incredible athletes, coaches, and human beings here tonight, and who have come before me, and is an honor I will carry with me for the rest of my life. Thank you to Dan, the committee, and everyone else who had a part in creating this wonderful evening. And of course, thank you to my amazing friends and family who are here tonight that gave up their time. I love you all so very much. Thank you. For me, this journey began the very first moment I stepped onto a soccer field. That moment was at Eston School. It was when I was 7 years old. It was love at first sight for me. I loved the sport of soccer. Nothing ever made me feel greater than playing that game. As a young girl, I lived for practices, and game day brought a kind of elation that's honestly hard to describe. That feeling never faded. It carried me through my playing days as well into my coaching years. My passion for this sport was never, it never unended. It overflowed. I credit that in large part to growing up in Rockland. There is no place like this town. The people are tough, fiercely loyal, and incredibly hardworking. And on the fields and courts and tracks of Rockland High School, I learned the lessons that shaped me far beyond athletics. I was fortunate to be coached by some truly remarkable people, especially Mr. Patton and Woody. They taught me about honor, humility, teamwork, leadership, sportsmanship, and above all, integrity. Their influence extended far beyond the game. I am so incredibly happy that Mr. Patton is here tonight. being honored for the impact that he had on so many of his athletes. His belief in me, his encouragement to play at the college level, and his support were invaluable, especially to a kid who didn't always have that at home. My decision to become a high school business teacher and high school soccer coach was directly shaped by the belief that Mr. Patton and Woody had in me. I cannot imagine my life any differently. Coaching the sport I love has been one of the greatest joys of my life. It wasn't always easy, but it was always fulfilling. And I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to coach and to make even a small impact on the lives of the players that I was fortunate to work with. I even had the privilege of coaching my own kids, passing on that same love and passion to them. As a parent, many of you who have coached your own children know that it's not easy. It's hard because people think you're not going to be fair to their kids. It's always about your kid. I think my kids can attest to the fact that that wasn't the case. I was tougher on them than I was ever on any other kid. Watching my daughter continue to play soccer and live her dream of competing as a Division I college athlete fills me with pride that is hard to describe. And if she could please stop tearing her ACLs, that would be fantastic, because I'd really love to watch her do her thing, because she's incredibly awesome at the sport. When I first began coaching, I thought my job was to produce players with one mission: to win games. It didn't take long for me to realize that coaching at the high school level is about so much more. It was the kids that taught me that. The wins and losses fade, but how we make them feel, the confidence we help them build, and the ways we show up for them is what lasts. I want to share a letter that reminded me of this in the most profound way. It came from a player that I coached for 4 years. She was a quiet leader, very soft-spoken, always very shy, but she was loaded with talent. I spent a lot of time wondering if I was ever truly reaching her with my coaching style. And I finally got my answer when she found out that I was retiring from coaching. She wrote me this: "Dear Coach Madsen, when I look back to high school, a lot of my memories come from soccer. No matter who I had as a coach, I know soccer would have still given me some of the things I cherish most. I would probably still have made the friendships that I did. I would still be able to play the game I enjoyed so very much every day after school. There are experiences, however, that I entirely accredit to you being my coach. As an intimidated freshman, you made me feel like I deserved to be playing varsity. When I thought I lost my phone after an away game, and I searched through everything while the whole team was waiting on the bus, you told me it was okay when I realized it was in my bag the whole time. I think the ice cream that you got us after preseason that year is the best ice cream I ever tasted. Junior year, you respected me enough to be a captain and gave me the confidence to be a leader, even though I wasn't a senior. When I texted you asking for a sports bra because I thought you were Sadie, you let me laugh with you about it and made sure I wasn't embarrassed. 4 years after graduating high school, I can recognize that some of the best things that you gave me were the challenges. Preseasons are still some of the most mentally demanding things that I've gone through. As a player, I was always mentally fragile, but your coaching from the sidelines allowed me to build toughness. I learned that praise is not what would have made me a better player or person, but your constructive criticism would. You cultivated a team that encouraged bonding. I was always proud to be a part of the soccer team, and you showed me what it was to be passionate. I am just one of the so many people your passion has touched. Thank you for everything that you have done for me and the program." Those words reminded me that the little things, our patience, our expectations, our belief, are the things that mean the world to our kids. And they reminded me that I did exactly what I had set out to do. My goal was to be a high school teacher and a high school soccer coach, and that was the greatest gift to me ever. I'm thankful for the foundation that was built here in Rockland, a foundation that led me to a life and career centered around the sport that I love the players I cared for, and the lessons that shaped me. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here tonight and for being part of the journey that brought me to this stage. I am forever proud to be from Rockland. Once a dog, always a dog. Thank you.
With this. Congratulations again. Absolutely. Yeah, let's hear it for Trish again. Congratulations. All right, it is my pleasure now to introduce Matt Bohenick, who will be inducting Coach Jim Patton.
Hi, everybody. It's funny, when I think of Jim Patton, the first memory that snaps into my mind isn't a sports memory at all. The second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on memories are all sports memories. But the first is from the 8th grade history class Mr. Patton taught, back when 8th grade was back up to high school. The first thing he did in class was to read from a book called The Rest of the Story by Paul Harvey. If you're not familiar with the book and the radio show it's based on, the premise is that it would tell sort of a lesser-known account about some person or event, and there was sort of a twist at the end, and it turns out you sort of knew what that person or event was all the time. Example is, there's one of them was a down-on-his-luck teacher who had written these 3 novels that were all rejected by the publishers, and he was ready to give up, and then he wrote Carrie, and it turns out it was Stephen King. So the chapters ended with, and now you know the rest of the story. So I was thinking about this when I was asked to give this speech tonight, and I think it's fitting for Mr. Patton's induction into the Rockland High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Purely as a matter of athletic accomplishments, his induction seems obvious. He was a coach at Rockland High for decades at both the varsity and the JV level. He coached Rockland High athletes to state championships in 2 wildly different sports, girls soccer in 1988 and cheerleading twice in the 2000s, with one of those cheerleading teams qualifying for the national finals. He coached league champions and state tournament participants. He took over coaching for the boys varsity soccer program, boys varsity soccer team at a particularly trying time for the program. My freshman year, we were nipping at the heels of that 1985 team. We were a robust 0 wins, 17 losses, and 1 tie before Mr. Patton took over. But then in 2005, a relatively short time later, that the boys varsity team were Patriot League champions. And on top of that, he spent his spring teaching a bunch of knuckleheads which end of the tennis racket to hold, and keeping that program together even while they had no courts to play on here in Rockland. But now's the rest of the story. What makes Mr. Patton's induction tonight so appropriate and so special to those of us who played for him are not the wins and the losses. Over the past few weeks, I've reached out to a number of folks who played for Mr. Patton over a number of years and in a whole variety of sports. And I wanted to share some of the things that have stuck with people most about him, even after many years. First is that sports are fun. It can be easy to forget that at high school, and Mr. Patton never did. There were a lot of memories of rainy practices with dizzy bat drills. Take a wiffle bat and spin around and run races. And a memory of Mr. Patton even sliding through a mud puddle at one of those practices in his full-on classroom work clothes. Bus shenanigans, like when some knuckleheads were drinking IBC root beers out of the brown little bottles in a very suspicious way. And after investigating and with a raised eyebrow, Mr. Patton confiscated those root beers and took them to share with the other coaches. The way he reacted with glee and not anger when the girls' state championship team toilet papered his house in Canton after they won the title. Mr. Patton blasting B.B. King from the speakers of his beloved little red convertible at tennis practices in the spring, and how he didn't murder any of us when we moved his beloved little red convertible for a photo that we gave to him at the end of the season. Thanks to Matt Muzzerall for that Grand Theft Auto. He also taught that perspective is important. Like when one of his tennis players told him that his match was suspended because he got into a fight with the other team, Mr. Patton responded with, well, you didn't win the match, but did you at least win the fight? And the time he carried one of his soccer players off the field after she collided with another player, not because she was too injured to walk off herself, but because she was ready to tear the other player apart for causing the collision. He also stressed the importance of having one another's back, sometimes literally. During double sessions, he would have members of the boys' team give each other piggybacks while running laps to gain strength, but also to gain some trust in one another. And one thing that came up in a lot of the conversations I had, almost all the conversations, was his stressing, always stay in touch with your teammates on and off the field, especially in the tough times, because they're the people that are going to have your back. He also had a knack for instilling confidence in his players and instilling confidence in and motivating his players. In a game in Duxbury in 2003, under the lights, the team was up 1-0. And during a break in the play, Mr. Patton asked the team if they wanted to go into a defensive shell to preserve the 1-0 score or keep playing their open game and keep attacking Duxbury. The team chose the latter and wound up winning 2-0, beating Duxbury for the first time in over a decade. And nearly every person I talked to said, when I asked them for memories about playing for Mr. Patton, said, you got to bring up Jimbo's Hill. And if you want to talk about motivation, running, endlessly in the dead of summer up the sledding hill until you were exhausted was plenty of motivation enough. One theme that ran through my conversations with former players about Mr. Patton was the impact he had both on and off the field. He pushed people to be their best selves and did so with a calm demeanor. He could be honest and straightforward, but with just the right dose of compassion. He knew how to be tough, but mixed it with the perfect dash of humor. And he was ever empathetic while also preaching personal accountability. For my part, I share in these sentiments. We did not win a lot of games in soccer or tennis while I played for him. And it would be easy to feel bitter or ambivalent about those memories. But instead, I look back fondly on that time because I got to play for a coach who cared deeply about us, not only as athletes, but as people. I'm grateful to Mr. Patton for sharing all of his compassion, wit, and empathy for us. I want to close with a note from Andy Dizell. If anybody doesn't know Andy, he was a senior when I was a freshman. I think he graduated in 1998. He played tennis and soccer for Mr. Patton and is now an educator in Middleborough. And he sent me a really nice note, and this is perfect, so I have to read it. Though his name may never appear alongside Sampras, Agassi, or Federer in the International Tennis Hall of Fame, Jim Patton's name belongs in the Hall of Fame of great teachers, mentors, fathers, husbands, and human beings. I am proud to call him my teacher, coach, and mentor, and he is truly deserving of this honor. Mr. Patton, congratulations on your induction into the Rockland High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
What do I say? I mean, I have notes about what I should say, but 40 years teaching, coaching, having fun with kids. It's so nice to see everyone and know that you are loved and you are appreciated. And we did have fun. We had some hard times, but we got through them. I'd like to thank the Rockland schools, the town of Rockland, and everyone associated with that for giving me a chance to be here. Rockland's a blue-collar town. That was my kind of way. I loved teaching kids that never gave up. Maddie, was the top senior in his class, and he got a yellow card. And I'm like, what did he do? He made the most beautiful pass in front of the net. Instead of taking the shot, he did what coach said. He passed it to someone else, and they put it in. And Ami, congratulations, goes, nice shot. And got a card for, intimidating and saying something. I said, oh boy, this is something. We had to go back to the school, and we had to explain why he got a yellow card. And they all laughed and started. So, all right, I started my career in 71. I got to the 80s and, okay, I'll stay. The 90s, well, I'll stay a little longer. 2000, okay. I made it to 2014 coaching tennis. And I couldn't keep up with the soccer teams. But I enjoyed it the whole time. I'd like to thank my wife, Susan, which a lot of you, if you're older, know that she was Miss Rice at one time. And she opened up our home to the boys for soccer dinners and parties and all kinds of things like that. And we enjoyed them thoroughly. My daughter, Tina, which if you're old enough, remembers that she was the little girl on the bike going around the field all the time. And Coach would bring her to practices. And we had a ball with her. And so I'd like to thank you. And I have two beautiful grandchildren. One is on the Canton golf team, and they won the states this year. So, and my little pumpkin, Julie, is a freshman. And as an 8th grader, she was brought up to the JV team in the high school to play field hockey. And this year she's a freshman, and she's on the varsity team. And they lost to Hingham in the semifinals. So, it goes around and keeps going and having fun. So, Tricia, I remember she was the most vicious, tough player. And I'm sure she's coached that way as well. And she got hurt. And they took her off to the hospital. And I came after the game, I went to see her. And she was spitting nails. How long is this going to keep me awake? I want to keep going. I don't want to stay here. All right? And that was the determination. And those of you that know Trish say, oh, yeah, that's her. I would see that. Uh-huh. And then the other person that's here, Kelly and Jeanine, wanted to work with their little sister. And it was a varsity team. I wanted juniors and seniors. I didn't want freshmen. But they talked me into it. They said, look, we're not going to be here that much longer. We want to work the 3 real girls together. And that was a big mistake sometimes, but I'm like, oh boy. So, Colleen was hit pretty hard. And she got knocked down. And Jeanine, all I saw was this red face, and she's screaming. I don't know why, but I ran out onto the field. I grabbed Jeanine and threw her over my shoulder. And I'm carrying her out. Now, we'd never do that today, but I'm carrying her out. And she's laying over my shoulder going, that's my sister. I'm going to get you. And I'm like, oh, no. So I'm carrying her back to the bench. And then I go, oh, my God, where's Kelly? And I'm like, oh, my. If Jeanine's going to act this way, Kelly's going to really. Kelly's standing there. Will you stop? That's enough out of you. Get up. You didn't get hurt. You can keep going. And so the whole thing. Danny said something, or Maddie said something about the boys' soccer team. Well, my buddy, Mr. Fisher, which I had retired, I wanted to go see my daughter play, and he talked me into helping with the boys. And sure enough, the first year I was head coach for the boys, they were 1-17. And what Maddie didn't tell them is that they had 8 or 9 red cards. And if you get one more, you're on suspension. And I get this team, and I'm every official, I'm saying, please don't, be nice to us. If there's a problem, let us know before it happens. Well, we made it through the season, and we never looked back. I think we almost made tournament every year. And back then, you had to win 60-something% of your team or your games. So it was really hard to make it. And so we went on from there. Then my buddy, Mr. Fisher, called me into his office. And he says, Jimmy, I need a favor. Yeah, okay, I'll help you. He goes, no, I really need a favor. And I said, oh, okay, what's the matter? The girls' cheerleading coach just quit, and they open next week. And I'm like, what? You want me to be part of the cheer? Well, I said, okay. I went to the girls and I said, what do you want to do? They said they're sick of competing and not winning. I'm 55 years old at the time. And I had a cheerleading team that I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I called Northeastern. I got a hold of the coach. I said, do you have anyone on the South Shore that you can recommend? Well, we got another Jason to come out, and he was a national champion. And we put the team together. We all of a sudden started winning, and we were asked to go down to Florida, to Orlando, to Disney World to compete. And we took third in the nation. So it was a lot of fun. And everybody used to give me the razz because I'm doing, yeah. So we're going on. Well, and then I think it was Mr. Fisher, and it might, I'm not sure, but he needed a tennis coach. And I had played tennis and I had coached a lot of things. So I said, sure. And I think it lasted almost 30 years of coaching. Now I have two kind of records. I have some of the most wins with the girls, soccer, and I definitely have the most losses with the tennis team. I would get the poor kids, and they didn't know which way of the hand, which way of the racket they were supposed to hold. Is that your left hand or your right hand? You know, it made a joke of it. And we were playing kids from Duxbury and Hingham and Situate that had coaches, their private coaches, come to our games to tell the kids what to do. And I'm like, what are you, crazy? You're making us. But we persevered, and we did well. We kept going, and we didn't take anything great, but we never gave up. We never, ever tried to make anything other than that we were kids from Rockland that were going to stay there, and you're going to have to beat us. So we took it from there. Now, I'm going to close, and my 90-year-old mother, I took her to the doctors in Weymouth, and we had to give all our information to the secretary. And after we were done, the secretary looked up at me and said, did you ever coach soccer in Rockland? And I go, yeah, I was a coach there for a long time. And she looked at me with amazement and said, so you're the legend. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the legend. Well, I'd like to thank the town and all of my kids for making me the legend that they had. Thank you.
All right, congrats again to Coach Patton. I'd now like to introduce Mr. Gary Graziano, who will be inducting Jeanine Reardon.
Did you just pivot to Jeanine? Is this right? Let me change my page order. Trisha Gary was meaner than Jeanine Real. I don't believe it. I I do want to congratulate everyone here. What a great room of people to honor tonight in Rockland. As the ex-AD, Danny, great job. And thank you to Steve Haas. He's a classmate of, I think, Big Jeff Reels. He sponsors us every year. He's the ex-owner of Cape Cod Express, and every year he supports it so that we can do this. So thank you to Steve Haas. He doesn't like me to say that, but I'm going to anyway. There's a lot of Hall of Famers in here tonight. Congratulations, and great to see everybody from Rockland. It's a great town. Gives me great pleasure to speak on behalf of the Rockland High School Athletics Department as Jeanine's friend, athletic director, and induct Jeanine Reardon Reel. I'll just say that once. Reardon into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Jeanine will now join her father, Jeff, sisters Kelly, Colleen, and finally little brother Jeff, who's not here tonight. He's at a soccer game or something. A few years ago, Kelly and Colleen's induction ceremony, after their induction ceremony, I was approached by Jeanine's husband, Jim. And he asked, what's it going to take to get Jeanine into the Hall of Fame? I jokingly responded to him, it's going to be about a $5,000 donation to the athletic department. He said, that's great, Big Jeff's in. As it turns out, it was never necessary because Jeanine was always on the path to this Hall of Fame. If you sum up the family of athletes, Dad Jeff was a high school All-American. Great football player, high school All-American football player. Great basketball player, and I might add that I was also told that Linda Commando Reel was an excellent basketball player in high school. I don't know how they played the game. They couldn't cross half court. It was a little bit weird. But then there's Kelly. Most agree, the best athlete in the family, state soccer champion. And then there's Colleen, the 1,000-point scorer. Kelly and Jeanine gave her the ball, and she's a state champion soccer player. Then there's Jeff Jr., 1,000-point basketball scorer. He got that doing foul shots because all he did was get fouled. He's an all-state football player, Super Bowl champ, and most recently a Lake Placid triathlete. I wouldn't have said anything about him because I thought he was going to be here. Now it's Jeanine's time. I'll tell you for experience, she's the toughest, scrappiest. I added this, and he said, don't say it. Possibly the most foul-mouthed high school athlete there was. Even more than Trisha Gary. She would just as soon knock you down, give you an elbow under the hoop, and never admit defeat. She was a three-sport athlete. Her career consists of state championship soccer, basketball captain, many league championships, tournament appearances, and she participated in track. I don't think she was very good. Fast forward a few years, she has three great kids, Andrew, Joey, and Collie. They're all involved in sports, every sport imaginable. Somehow, one of them started playing hockey. It was crazy. Then she decides, I'm going to give coaching cheerleading a try. Well, let's see how that worked out. She transformed the town of Rockland into the #1 elite cheer championship program in the state of Massachusetts. All allowing the AD and his wife to travel all over the state of Massachusetts in the fall with my wife to see all these competitions, 15 years. We had a great time on all these trips. No matter what town we went to, my wife has a sixth sense to find a winery or an antique store. First, the winery. They were very expensive weekends. Coach Jeanine has won 15 state championships, with probably another one this fall. And I asked her the other day, Friday night, last night of football, are you going to win another state championship? She said, if I'm coaching, we're winning. I love that statement. I said, I'm adding that. She's won 20 regional championships, 20 league titles, 4 New England championships, 1 national championship, and many people think, how the hell does she do it? She was never a cheerleader. 2 reasons. She's intense and fierce, more than Trisha Gary, as hell, takes no excuses from anyone. Second, she's an athlete and treats her cheer team like athletes. As athletic director, I'd go in the gym, and I could not believe. She's like, just go running. She'd make them run. What are you doing? She doesn't want to go running. She's going to run. I don't care. Don't ever say that cheerleading is not a sport around Jeanine. Her girls and guys are well-trained, and that's how she does it. It gives me great pleasure to induct Jeanine into the Rockland High School Hall of Fame as coach in the class of 2025 without a $5,000 donation. Thank you. She's foul-mouthed, but actually one of the nicest people in the world. Very generous.
Thank you.
I had to say that.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone, and I'm truly honored and humbled to be standing here tonight to be recognized and inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all the other inductees. What a great night for all of us to celebrate. In addition to that, congratulations to all the other athletes here that have been inducted as well. It's a fantastic night. The lineup was really special to me. Mr. Patton was my coach. Kyra cheered on my youth team. Have followed her. Fantastic. Mal Lannon, amazing. My coach. Sorry. The worst speaker. All right. I'm going to just try to read it, but there's so many people here that mean so much and have done so much. I'm very grateful. I never set out to be a cheer coach. Like Gary said, I played soccer, basketball, and track. About 20 years ago, my daughter joined youth cheerleading, and that changed everything. I wanted to be part of the kids. I've coached their soccer team. I coached the boys' basketball teams. I loved being involved in all of the kids' worlds. Coaching at the youth level was so awesome. We had so many good times and so many good families in the town of Rockland. It made it very easy. When Carly entered high school in 2012, there happened to be an opening for the head coach, so I figured, what the heck, I can do this. The very first year, we won our first state title ever. I will never forget the moment, standing on the mat, watching all of my athletes, including my daughter, accomplish something so special. It was the start of something I could have never dreamed of. Since then, my journey has begun and has been filled with so many incredible moments. State titles, league titles, New England titles, 1,000 titles, I couldn't even tell you. And it's just been amazing. The truth is, the number of wins and awards truly, really don't mean anything. There is just something that's much deeper than that. We've built a great program and a great sense of family, and it's been an amazing 20 years. Coaching in a small town like Rockland has been a true privilege for myself. Every athlete who has come through this program has left a mark on my heart. They've taught me, just as much as I've taught them, about perseverance, teamwork, leadership, and what it is to mean to truly believe in yourself and make something happen. We've truly been the underdog many times, and the hard work and determination of these girls is just second to none. I've been blessed with amazing assistant coaches, supportive families, and a community that rallies behind athletes year after year. I could have never done that without them. I thank every athlete, every parent, every assistant coach that has played a role in making this a great program. And trust me, it takes a village. So many late nights, early mornings, team dinners, driving the bus. I had to drive a bus, which is dangerous. I don't know why they let me do that. I'm doing it tomorrow. Sorry, Danny. I know, has been nothing but amazing. To my family, I want to thank them for always being my biggest supporter, attending comps and encouraging me all the times. For my friends, same, we would laugh. Ian is here with me and Deli, and I appreciate that. But Ian and I would sit back, I'm sure Mr. Patton can say, and we'd say, how did this happen? How did I ever become a cheerleading coach? I wouldn't change it for the world. Being a coach has been one of the greatest joys of my life, watching these young athletes grow, find their voices,
and accomplish something impossible. Winning a state title, it seems easy, but it's not. And that's what it's all about. Coaching has given me such pleasure to work and set a goal and work to a goal. Once again, to all the people in the room that have helped me along the way, I appreciate it, love and support you all, and I thank you for this incredible honor. I am proud to be part of Rockland and the legacy of Rockland Cheer, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Thank you so much. Go Bulldogs, and looking for number 16. Thank you.
Congrats. All right. Congrats, Jeanine. It is now my pleasure to introduce Coach Bob Fisher, who will be inducting his former player, Glenn MacKinlay.
Thank you, Dan. Great to be here. First, before I start with Glenn, I'm looking at the committee, the work of the committee to make this go and make it happen every other year is fantastic. And I think, as I go through that, I think they're all here. Maybe, I don't know if Kathy's here. But stand up. Dan Kimball, Chris Panika, Gary Graz. Freddie just took a leak. Madeline Lannon, Cotton, I think Madeline's here. Nick Corey, Diana Newcomb. Am I missing anybody? The work of the committee to make this happen. Special thanks. Really. Great job. And before I do Glenn, I want to say one other thing. It's nice to see so many coaches here that I go back to. You know, your husband's taking a long time. Has he got a nip in there? Freddie's here, Kenny Owen, Graz, Nick LaQuarrie, I'm going to miss somebody, Jimmy Patton, of course, Colleen Reel, Madeline Lanning. Oh, time you came out, we're talking about you. And Diana Mitchell. It's great to see all these coaches here. And some of them are here because they're a part of the program. They're not inducting anybody, but they're a part of being a Bulldog. And once a Bulldog, we say it's always a Bulldog. So thanks for the coaches for being here. Thanks for all the memories you gave me when I was the athletic director, and giving Graz and Danny right now. So great job for the coaches. All right, Glenn MacKinlay. What an honor for me to induct Glenn into the Rockland Hall of Fame. Glenn is, of course, everybody knows, is the former son of the former principal, God rest his soul, athletic director, principal, basketball coach Scott McKinley. Talk about the pressures that he had with his father running the building, his father coming to every game, home or away, watching him play every game, listening to me, and going home to see his father, who probably changed everything I said. But the pressure of being the son of a principal, and I look at Michael Rogers out there, his father being the superintendent. This is the type of team I had at the time, the superintendent's son and the principal's son. So obviously I was called into the office many times to calm down my technical fouls. I was written up. Mr. McKinley had a folder under his desk, and he would put, I'm going to add to your folder. I don't know whatever happened to that folder, but there was a lot of things in there. But anyway, getting back to Glenn. He was a National Honor Society member. He was an athletic all-scholastic. He's a member of the Athletic Hall of Fame. He's a member of both Hall of Fames. And Graz, you might know it, or Danny might know it. How many people are in both Hall of Fames? First one, being in both Hall of Fames. Yeah, that's quite an honor. And we always talk about the student athlete. Well, this is really the student athlete, et cetera, like that. He started every game for me as a junior and senior, and was the captain of his team, of course, in his senior year. Some of his accomplishments as a basketball player. his teams went to the sectional finals. In those days, it was not, the finals broken up to south, north, east, west. And we were very successful going to the finals or semifinals and winning it. In both years, we went to the finals. We won 3 games before we lost in the finals. We lost 2 games in the finals, which I'll get to a little while later. But he got us to the finals. While he was a member in the 2 years, he won 41 games. We had a 20-game schedule. One of the years, we had an 18-game schedule. So we had 38 scheduled games. So for him to win 41 games in 2 years, you said, how did he do it? Well, we were successful in the tournament. But very few teams win 41 games in 2 years, very few players, let alone that. In his senior year, he was 23-2 as our captain. Get this, there was no three-point line back then. In fact, as a coach, I don't know how you feel, Freddie, I hate the damn three-point line. I watched the Celtics 51 threes, 63 threes. To me, it's really changed the whole game to a way I don't like it. But anyway, we didn't have the three-point back then. Glenn was able to score 500 points in his senior year without the advent of a three-point line. Only the second player that I know, unless Freddie's had one, that's ever scored 500 points in a year. I had only one other player, and that was Keith Dixon. You've heard the name Keith, who was the coach at St. Lansdowne's. We had a very successful team. But 500 points. In his first year at Mass Maritime, when he graduated, he scored 500 points without the advent in college in his freshman year. So over a 2-year period of time, he had 1,000 points. Amazing. I could go on and on about the number of points, etc., like that. The three-point line, as I mentioned, we didn't have it. And if the Maritime, those who have sent students to the Maritime, and I've got a few in there now, they take a cruise every winter for about 6 months, 4 months. So the seasons weren't a 24 or 25 game schedule. Some of them were shot into 12, 15, 16 games. So his accomplishments at college were astronomical based on the number of games he played. Just a tremendous achievement. Glenn was known as Mr. Consistent, always knocking down shots, making passes, leading to a basket. He was an outstanding rebounder. And if not for the big guy, Peter Foster, some of you may remember Peter Foster, who went on to the U.S. Army, West Point, he would have led the team in rebounds as well in his senior year. Glenn was an excellent rebounder. His junior year, I saw him walk in the back there. Steve Weisgerber out-rebounded him, a little taller than Glenn was. Glenn was a league all-star for 2 years, as well as an Enterprise and Ledger All-Scholastic for 2 years. He was an honorable mention in the Globe All-Scholastic. He led his team in field goal percentage, shooting 52% in his junior year. Now, his shots usually came from the outside. Big men who play under the basket can shoot 50, 60%, but when you're an outside perimeter player, shooting over 40% is an accomplishment. In fact, last year we were pretty good in basketball. My best shooter in the backcourt shot 39%. So for him, and we were pretty good, and no one shoots 50% nowadays as a basketball player. And he shot 74% from the free throw line. I guess when I look of Glenn and a lot of the things that happened in his junior year, I believe, Glenn, we played a city team called Jeremiah Burke. We had never played a city team in Rockland. It was out of the realm. We couldn't go in the city and play. His dad, the principal, would not allow us to go in the city. Had a chance to play at Madison Park, Boston League. We ain't going in there. So we never went in the city. But I convinced the boss, how about bringing the city out here? So we brought the city to Rockland. Never had played a city team. They came into our gym, outstanding. They were 14-1 when they came into our gym. We had a pretty good team. We ended up winning the game in Rockland 73-71, packed house. Couldn't get in. Season game. Glenn was extremely instrumental in that game. And I look over to see Mikey Rogers extremely instrumental in his defense on this kid, Kyle Hobbs. First time we had beaten a city team. And ironically, that year, we made the tournament, and we faced Jeremiah Burke again at Brockton. And they were loaded for bear. Their player, Kyle Hobbs, one of the best players in Eastern Mass, was a leading scorer in Eastern Mass, averaging 30.6 a game, coming into the semifinals at Brockton. Once again, thanks to Glenn McKinley's heroics, we end up beating Jeremiah Burke for a second time. The second time we had beaten the city team. Now it's on a neutral court. All right? So we end up beating Jeremiah Burke twice in 1 year. It was unheard of back then. Suburban teams had a hard time against the city teams. They were good, and they were good. They were great kids, well coached, well disciplined, and very much talented. But then came his biggest game. We're playing a team in Brockton in the semifinals. I think it was your junior year. We're playing Hanover. You couldn't get near the place. The bus pulled up at Brockton High School, 4:30, 4:05. The line out the door at Brockton was all the way out to the street. You couldn't get anybody else into the place. They were standing so deep behind the benches, behind the baskets, well over 3,000, 3,500 fans there. Arch rival Hanover. In those days, our sugar was not white, according to Hanover. They wouldn't play us. They wouldn't play us in any sport. But now they had to play us. They were 23-0. They had two players that were going to go to Division I schools. One name was Keith Witt. And we're playing them at Brockton in a dramatic game. We're down 7 points with 1:21 to go. And lo and behold, we found a way to win the game 70-68. When a player on the other team called a timeout, and they didn't have any timeouts to go. And there was a 6th timeout, and it was a tie game, and they had the ball to beat us. And who goes to the foul line? But Glenn McKinlay. And in those days, you had one shot. You don't get two. Now you get two shots. 68-68. 5 seconds to go, 4 seconds to go at that time. Nobody else out in the court except by the benches, all by himself. Chance to beat arch rival Hanover. And obviously, I don't have to tell you the outcome. All net, we win 60. We actually won 70. Coach Weisgerber got fouled toward the end of the game. I think he made a free throw, 70-68. Probably one of the biggest victories, non-state championship, that I was a part of at Rockland. That's who Glenn was. He always found a way. And during that same year, we played a team. I don't know if that was that year, Glenn, or the following year. We played Dartmouth in Brockton, another great team. Basketball players back then, like today, they were good. And Dartmouth had a great player. And I think the player that was playing Glenn was 6'6", 6'7" maybe. He was playing Glenn to take away his outside shot. And I'm stating a fact. Glenn was 8 for 9 from downtown. They would have been threes. There were twos back then. We ended up beating Dartmouth in a big, big game at Brockton. So he's been extremely instrumental in many, many, many games that our teams have played over the years. Great, great memories for me. Not only was he an excellent basketball player, he was a 3-year starter on the baseball team as a shortstop. He was a starting shortstop for 3 years. He was also a quarterback on the freshman team, but he gave up football. And Tommy Rest says he wanted me to mention his name here. He says, Fish, mention my name. They was throwing me touchdown passes. Mention that I caught the passes too. So I'm mentioning Tommy that Tommy said he caught 14 passes. I don't know if that's true or not. But he wanted me to use that figure of 14. Huh? He would know, yeah, he would. Glenn was also an outstanding tennis player and played tennis at Mass Maritime. Was one of their best players. Glenn and his beautiful wife Cindy have 3 children, 2 sons, Andrew and Harrison. I think a lot of us know the problems they've had with health-wise going through their family. And I won't allude to it, but their lives going up was not easy with the health problems that Andrew and Harrison have had. Had a daughter, Meredith. They reside in Norwell, Mass. Once Glenn graduated from Mass Maritime, he furthered his education by getting his law degree at Suffolk University and became the Assistant U.S. Attorney of Massachusetts. He has also been named the U.S. Marshal Service Law Enforcement Officer of the Year and has been a trial lawyer for 30 years. He's also been a state attorney general, a federal attorney general, and a federal prosecutor for 29 years. Think of that for a resume. All right? Presently, he's a partner in a law firm in Boston. I love the kid. I love the family. I love the team he played with. And I'm so honored to have Glenn McKinlay as our next Rockland High School Athletic 2025 member of the Hall of Fame, Glenn McKinlay.
That was something, Coach. I mean, you've got a terrific memory. And some of those things, actually, I think I did do. A few of them. Honestly, I'm honored and humbled to be here. The people here in this room and the people before me in the Hall of Fame are exceptional athletes. It's really, an honor and a privilege to be included in that group. I want to thank the committee, all you folks. I really appreciate it, Graz, Freddie, all you guys. Really appreciate the opportunity and to be included in this group. But it's special to me for another reason, which I'm going to talk about later, and that is my father also being inducted at the same time. Very special to me because my athletic achievements would have been nothing if it weren't for him. What I want to talk about is what the award means to me. It means to me the acknowledgement that it's a team sport. It's a team of players and friends that you rely upon to get through and face adversity and come out the other end. And I was fortunate to have the best teammates, people that were not only great athletes, but they were also great human beings. They've been friends with me, my family, for 50 years. 50 years. I guess I'm showing my age there. Anyway, Michael Rogers, as you see here, again, you heard Coach referencing him. Played with him in college as well. Michael's the best natural athlete that I've ever played with. It was a joy to play with him. You didn't even know you were open playing basketball when the ball hit your hands from a pass from him. Because he knew you were open, you just didn't realize it yet. I also want to think about the reference Coach made to the Hanover game. That was a big moment for me, being put out on the center stage in a very pressure-packed situation. But I've always wanted to say something to you, Coach, about that. And it is this. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for having confidence in me, to put me out there and give me an opportunity to help the team win. It's something that I will always remember. I also want to share what I think Bulldog pride is, what it means to me. It means work harder, play smarter. Rockland kids are taught from an early age to be tough, be strong, be a team player. And that's just what we all aspire to do, to be. I carried these traits, as I'm sure other folks have also carried into their professional career. We've heard about it earlier in the evening. I carried it into my work as a trial lawyer because in a way, a trial is a competition. And someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. And the traits that I learned at Rockland High School through the athletic program helped me in that professional arena as well. I want to tell you a little bit of a story about demonstrating the commitment that we had as players growing up, playing for Coach Fisher in the Rockland program. This was before AAU. Coach in the program knew that we had to play in the off-season to get better. But being no AAU, Coach Fisher had us playing in summer leagues 6 nights a week. I mean, and the captains had to get players to fill the roster, make sure we didn't forfeit, because if we forfeited, it was going to be a problem with the coach. So one time we were short of players. We called a bunch of players, asking them to come. We had 4 players. We needed 5, obviously, for basketball to go to Rockland to play in a summer league game. So what do? We jumped in the car, Michael, a couple of the guys, and went to one of our players' homes. His name was Kevin Barrett. He's a 6'5", 6'6" center. And we saw Kevin mowing the lawn, wearing cut-off shorts, sneakers, no socks, no shirt, mowing the lawn. Michael gets out of the car and says, "Kevin, get in the car, we got a game." Kevin says, I can't go. My mother wants me to mow the lawn." Michael's like, "Get in the car, I'm not asking. We got a game, we don't want to forfeit." He still refuses. Michael grabs him, forcibly puts him into the car, and we leave. And he's like, "But my mother thinks I'm cutting the lawn." We said, "Kevin, don't worry, we left the lawnmower running." We took him to Rockland, and yes, we won the game. Yes. In conclusion, it really is an honor to be here. I really thank you all. I'm very humbled, very happy to be included in the Hall of Fame. And I just wish all of you that have also been inducted tonight well, and congratulations.
All right, we are going to welcome, one by one, 3 men back to the podium to induct A. Scott McKinley. So it will first be Gary Graziano, then Coach Bob Fisher, and then Glenn McKinley as well.
Don't clap for me, that's okay. I just want to congratulate everyone and I went to elementary school with Mike and Glenn. They're a year older than me, and if Mike told you to do something, you did it, because he was that guy. And believe it or not, it's one of the 4 juniors on that basketball team their senior year. I averaged 1.3 points a game. 0.3. It was a fantastic season. We lost to South Boston and Brockton. It was a great experience being with those guys. Fish retired after the game because he knew we were going to be bad the next year. True story. So, before I start, quick story. The board got back together this year, and we had this old history question of why aren't guys in both Hall of Fames? I said, I have to bring this up. We have to change the bylaws. So Steve Weisgerber and Glenn should be in the Hall of Fame, and Steve actually happened to be here because Steve started this problem. Norm Pulaski calls Steve up and goes, "You want to be in the Athletic Hall of Fame or the Academic? You're in for both." Steve goes, "Academic." So Joe Weisgerber, Norm Pulaski, the old ex-principal, vice principal, said, "All right, listen, Graz, we're not going to put him in both." So Steve made that determination. So we've changed that and people are going to be into both Hall of Fames, and most notably, probably Wayne Harrington, who's the smartest guy we've ever met. And he's in the Athletic Hall of Fame, and Kenny Owen goes, he should have been in the Academic Hall of Fame before that. His brother's a better athlete than him. So it's all been straightened out. It's all been straightened out. He knows that's true. Don't get mad. So we went and told, Freddie and I went and told Scott McKinley that in the last few weeks of his life, that everything's been, and we were honored to tell him that he and his son were being inducted in the Hall of Fame in the same night. And it was very special for Freddie and I to both visit him and be able to tell him. I was fortunate to have worked with Scott at RHS early in my career, although I had known Scott most of my life as a student resident. He was, in my opinion, one of the greatest people I've ever been associated with. During my time as AD, I always enjoyed seeing Scott at the games in the gyms and the field. He was a constant supporter of all the sports programs during his retirement, especially enjoying his granddaughter's soccer, volleyball, basketball, track, and even mixed in a few cheer events. I will never forget the day he called me over to talk before a basketball game. He wanted to tell me that he thought I was doing a great job as AD and that I'm doing all the right things. This despite what Beaker told everyone at school most days. I have always cherished that compliment coming from him. No one loved the town of Rockland and its sports programs more than Scott. Many of the years of his life after retiring were filled with RHS Sports, Rockland Education Foundation, always making new friends along the way, especially the new young coaches. He would always reach out to them and congratulate them in their team success. Nick LaCroix still has an audio of him telling him how proud he was of winning the Super Bowl. He had, in his later years, developed cherished relationships with many parents, students, forged wonderful relationships with families. He loved more than anything the term student athlete. He loved recognizing the ones who did it so well on the field and the classroom. I was fortunate to have been able to visit Scott when he was at his family house and had long conversations about the town, past athletes, his pride and joy of his family, wife Sally, children's Lisa, Glenn, Jill, and all of his grandchildren. In the weeks before his passing, I was able to visit with Scott at Lisa and Wally's home with Freddie and had some great conversations with him. I will always cherish those conversations. Remember how he would always say, first to me, don't ever get old, it stinks. He would then talk about the old days, great athletes, always, John Toomey, Jeff Reel, always mentioned, coaches, Kenny Owen, and fond memories of coaching in the sports programs. As I reflect back on our conversations and listen to him talk about the town, I realized Scott was actually the architect for the success of the sports programs of all of these athletes. He told Fred Damon and I on our last visit, when he became principal, the town needed to direct kids to athletics, to teach them discipline, and allow them to find success with good coaches and role models. This, he said, would lead to success in life. He never veered away from that goal. He's the reason the school's athletic tradition and successes. As he said in the end, he had to change the athletic attitude and expectations that would lead to good things for all of these kids. Scott will be missed by the entire community, and it gives me great pleasure to be inducting him into the Hall of Fame. And I would ask Fish and Glenn, Fish first, and then Glenn to come up and finish this induction. Thank you.
Actually, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Joe Weisgerber and Scott McKinley, who really pioneered the neophyte stages of the Hall of Fame. They're the ones that started it. It took them 2 or 3 years to get it off the ground, the way they wanted to get it off the ground. I remember him giving me a job and to research other schools, how they would put people in the Hall of Fame, what requirements they had, and they wanted to make sure they did it right. But Scott and Joe, they're the pioneers of the Hall of Fame, and it's the reason we're here. Quick story about Scott. My first year, I come to Rockland. He hires me as his JV coach before I talk about him. And he says, I got a great deal for you. I'm going to have you work with me at Red Owlback's camp in Marshfield. Now, that was the only camp around in those days. And I said, okay, do I get paid for it? He says, you'll be all right. Don't worry about it. I said, okay, I trust you. So I arrived there on a Saturday afternoon for Saturday night dinner. And you got to know the area. You don't know it. But when I went there, you had these cabins, and there were all holes in the cabins. All the mosquitoes would get in. There was no spray around. You had to cover yourself up in the summertime, no air conditioning. So you fought off the mosquitoes and what have you. But the beauty of it was a camp for kids, and the Celtics would show up, and they would practice there. In fact, Larry Bird practiced there, ML Carr, all that stuff. So get there on a Saturday. We closed on the following Saturday, 1 week later. And I enjoyed it. That was good. And we go into this person who was the president's office with Red Owlback, and he shakes your hand. He gives you a check, Jan Volk. And the envelope is sealed. So I take the envelope, and I don't open it. I get in. Scott drove me there. I think my car was in Rockland at 41 Phillips Street. So we're on the car on the highway. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I opened up the check. It was for $30 for 7 days. After taxes, it was $18.32. I held the check up. This is a true story. I held the check up, and it was a hot summer day, and the window was open, and the check blew out. Scott pulls over. I said, it ain't worth it. Keep moving. He said, no, we got to get the check. I said, it ain't worth it, Scott. $18. It's a true story. I never picked up the check. He kept on going. I don't know what happened to the check. First year at Rockland, that's how I was introduced to Scott. But, long story, not to get into it, etc. like that. He, as we talked about, as Dan alluded to, started in 1959, serving 2 years in Germany. He taught science and physical education at Rockland. He received his master's from Bridgewater State after graduating from BU. And he became principal in 69 to 95. And then he was also the athletic director of physical education department. Well, he was a basketball coach. Freddie and I have had success in our terms there. Our success isn't related to Freddie or Fish. It's related to the program he started back in Rockland. He started the program in town youth basketball. He started it all. He got the kids playing in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. He initiated it. He developed the whole program. He developed a summer league for teams in the area. We were the only summer league around. We played at, what's the name of the garage? Was it Abe's? Abe's garage, yeah. 6 teams would come in. And he developed basketball for the town of Rockland. He developed the youth summer league for the kids of Rockland at the playground. I think he developed that league, and I think it was the first organized basketball summer league in the area. I don't ever remember any other summer league. He was a high school basketball coach. He probably coached the greatest player to come out of Rockland. Sorry about that, Tyler. And this kid, John Tomey. Sorry about that, Glenn, too. John Tomey was his pride and joy. We went to the United States Naval Academy. He was the first 1,000-point scorer at Rockland. And he's recognized as probably the best player ever come out of Rockland, and that's thanks to Scott and how we developed him. He was the founding member of the Rockland Youth Commission. Here we go again. Heavily involved. the youth of Rockland. The kids in Rockland meant the world to him. He had that tough expression, but you get him behind closed doors with those kids, he was their best friend. He saw the other side of them. He knew how they grew up. He didn't want you to know it, but he wanted the kid to know it. But he developed the youth commission. He developed countless youth programs for the town of Rockland. Countless. The success of our athletic programs, Jimmy, you in soccer, Kenny in football, would not have been anywhere as what it is today if it wasn't for Scott. He was the founder of the Rockland Education Association. Think about that one. He founded it, which gives grants to teachers and provided computers for all the students in Rockland over the years. He appeared at every beginning faculty meeting at the beginning of the school year when he retired, to show his support for the REA and show his support for education and for the kids. When he had staff meetings, or department meetings, there was a book called by Ken Blanchard, I think, The 1 Minute Manager. Scott was, the 1 hour manager. Everything was long, long, long. He wanted to get his point across, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but it always came back, you have to do what's best for the kids. Don't do what's best for you. Don't do what's best for the parents. Do what's best for that kid. Some of them don't have parents. You got to understand that. Find out about that kid. So he developed the Rockland Education Association. He was the past president of the MIA. A lot of people frown upon the MIA, this, that, and everything. He was the president of the MIA. That means he was in charge of every school of 353 schools in the state of Massachusetts at one time for 2 years, while being the principal of Rockland High School. He was on the board of control of the MIA, which means that the board made many decisions for over 15 years. One of the things about Scott that his faculty is that he didn't take days off. He didn't call in sick. He'd have back surgery. Remember the back surgery your dad used to have? Day he gets out of the hospital, the next day he's at school. He's got to walk. You feared calling him up being sick. Because when you called up, I'm not feeling good today, Scott. There was you couldn't hear, you didn't know what was, there was no answer. Scott, did you hear me? Scott, I said, I'm sick. People didn't call in sick because they were afraid to call in sick. He wanted the real teacher in the classroom and not a substitute teacher because he felt the kids deserved the best. Great lesson in life. He developed a sign with this person called Charlie McSweeney, who owned Fairmont Press, a long-established printing press in Rockland, called Rockland Pride. I thought I had one. I was going to bring it. It was a yellow 8x10 sign, Rockland Pride. He developed Rockland Pride on his own. He'd pass out these signs to everybody. Rockland Pride, Rockland Pride. And at that time, Rockland was going through some problems. But all these things, the Youth Commission, the Rockland Pride, the Rockland Education Association, was alleviating some of the problems in Rockland. He developed a student award. In fact, this banquet was always held, another relic, at the Sons of Italy. Remember the Sons of Italy in Rockland? Frank Delprat used to give us that for $0. Guys talks about the donations. And Scott would have an academic award for each person in each department at each level. 9th grade science award. Excuse me. 10th grade science. 11th grade, 12th grade, English, math. And the Hall of Fame would be that night. So the kids could see the success of the people going into the Hall of Fame. So all these future, and there may be some kids who were in the Hall of Fame that was one of the student academic award winners. He believed students should be at these things. And then, of course, we know what happened with the Hall of Fame, with the Sons of Italy. It's no longer there, and we had to relocate. We didn't have a hall big enough to invite the kids. But that was, he got the kids involved in this whole situation. He always reached out to the community for donations. Gary was talking about donations. Donations, 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 donations. The number of donations, astronomical. Just great reaching out to the community, and he got the donations. And everything was for the students. It wasn't for you as it was everything for the student. He brought us all together. I'll wrap it up. He brought the school, the community, and the students, and he made us as one. He brought us all together. I think that's his greatest strength, the togetherness he brought to the community. He believed in his students. He believed in his staff. He believed in his coaching staff. He believed in his community. He always did what was best for the students. He's a bulldog for life. He's still a bulldog up there for life, watching us. His deep love for students of Rockland and the town, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome Scott into the Hall of Fame as an honorary member, because to me, he is the Hall of Fame. You're on, Glenn.
It's an honor to accept the award on behalf of my family, for my father being admitted to the Hall of Fame, something I think he would be very proud of. I know a lot of you folks, if not all of you, know who he was and what he meant to the town and what he committed to the efforts of the Rockland High School athletic program. There's a couple of things that I do want to point out, and from the family's perspective, and it goes like this. Dad was always there. I mean, that really covers it. He was always there for us. He was always there for our kids, and always supportive of everything that we did athletically. A quick story, I was playing tennis in college, and I went to Worcester to play. Unbeknownst to me, there was a fan there that day. He drove all the way out to Worcester by himself and watched a tennis match with the attendance of one, my father. He always supported the efforts to make yourself better, the efforts to be all that you could be, to be a bulldog. But his advice wasn't always easy to hear. One time I was shooting in the driveway practicing. I probably went out 10 minutes before I knew he was coming home, so he thought I was there all day. He came home, I'm shooting the basketball. He looked at me and said, "You'll never be a basketball player if you shoot like that." What? 7th grade. I pretty much thought I'd give up basketball at that point. I don't know who wouldn't have, but I heeded his advice, fixed my shot, and practiced it, and it was a turning point for me because I was able to then learn how to shoot the right way. Dad's commitment was tremendous for his family. He was not only always there for us, he was always there supporting us. One time in a basketball game in college, he sat with my mother on the end, underneath the hoop, and I took a layup and got creamed, got tackled into the stands. I heard two voices. The first was my mother saying, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I'm like, "All right." My father was like, "That was a foul!" Screaming at the referee why we didn't get a call foul against me. In fact, when he accused the referee of swallowing the whistle, he almost got shown the door. But Dad always supported Rockland, always led blue and white for Rockland, and always wanted the athletic program to be the best that it could be. He challenged kids, he challenged coaches to bring out the best in students. Lastly, I think Dad is best described as a leader who had an impact on young people, both in the classroom and in the sporting fields. It's an honor on behalf of my family to receive the award admitting him into the Hall of Fame. I know he and my mom are watching with us today, and I know they're proud.